Hey guys, Luther here from Luther's Woodworking. Thanks for stopping by. Last couple of weeks we've been working on a large wooden toy train. This week I'm going to throw in a video here. I have something that I want to make and show you. It's a real simple project, just to kind of step it up a little bit in between making these toy train cars. But I do have a train car coming out here in a couple of days, so keep on coming back because I am going to continue on making that large wooden train. But today we're talking cattails. A lot of women use cattails to put in flower arrangements around the house. Say they have one in the corner of their house with flowers in, they'll put a couple cattails for highlights. So I make wooden cattails. So I'll show you what I got here. I got these wooden cattails. Now maybe, I don't know if you can see them or not, but these are in a tall vase right here. And they're all different lengths. And I got the wild grass right here. But they're all different lengths of cattails. I'll pull one out here. You got this right here, one. And I got them 20 inches, 24 inches, and 22 inches. Different lengths. And I got them stained different colors. I'll just pull three of them out here. Three different colors we got here. So, and they're actually pretty fun to make and really easy. So if you want to whip up something real quick and real simple for your wife, it'll be really easy to make. Now here is three different cattails that I've made. Now these are all different lengths, three of them, and a lot of times you put these in vases. They look really cool. I sell a lot of these cattails, and they're really super simple to make. And this is three different lengths right here. So, and you can make them any length you want. I just choose three lengths to make it simple, and then I'll make 20, 30, 40 of these cattails. So let's get started. We'll make this. This is going to be a real quick video. And also, I'm going to move my camera here so you can see kind of what's going on here. So just hang in there. All right, so to start out with, you're going to need a 1/4 inch dowel. You can buy these usually at Hobby Lobby or any big box store. Usually has dowels, different sizes, but 1/4 inch dowel is what you're going to need for these cattails. And then you're also going to need a 3/4 inch dowel right here. And the first thing you're going to do, you're going to want to decide how long the length of your cattails. Now the three that I showed you, there are three different lengths that I got right here. 20, 22, and 24. That's the lengths that I usually cut them at. And that is actually determined from the actual length of the stem. This would be a 20 inch stem right here. And this is actually going up inside the cattail right here. It's going up about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch inside there. So you just determine the height of your cattail. After you make it, you decide you want it a little shorter. You can always cut some off the bottom. So the first thing to do is decide the length of your cattail. So today I just took a 1/4 inch dowel and I cut it to this length right here. And then pretty much you got this cut, you're done with doing that part for the stem. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to cut off your 3/4 inch dowel 5 1/4 inches pieces. These cattails right here, the main part of the cattail right here is 5 1/4 inches from end to end. So whether you make one or you make 20 of them, you're going to cut off a 5 1/4 inch piece out of your 3/4 inch dowel. Once you got that, you're going to need to drill some holes on the ends of each one of your dowels, because that's what's actually you're actually going to stick your dowel on the end for the stem right here. And then on the top, on the other end, you got your the point that comes out of the end of the cattail. So to drill that hole, there's a couple different ways you could do to drill that hole. You could, if you're limited on tools, you could actually just put this in a vise or something and use a hand drill. And these are 1/4 inch holes. you could actually put this in a vise or something and take a hand drill and drill in a 1/4 inch hole on each end. And go. I usually go about 3/4 of an inch in. That's all. And you want to kind of stay the same depth on each end. So if you're only limited on tools, you could go about 3/4 of an inch in with a hand drill. You could vise this up and use a hand drill. Or another way to do it, if you have some sort of vise, now I have a pen vise right here. It works pretty nice. I can actually stick a dowel, once I get them cut, I can stick them in there. I can close this vise up. Now I can go to my drill press and put my 1/4 inch Forstner bit in the drill press, and I can set it to the depth that I want it. And I can just come down and drill my hole on one end, and just loosen this up, turn it over, drop it down, drill my 1/4 inch hole on that end. And that's one way to do it too, if you have a drill press to be able to do that. And there's one other way that you can do it, and I'm going to show you that, because once you get this piece cut, you got to drill your holes. So we're going to head over to the wood lathe, if you do have a wood lathe, and I'm going to show you how I go about drilling these holes. And then we have some other stuff we got to do to this, because at the end of getting this all done, you want this to look rounded on the ends of each of the cattails. You don't want it to be square like that. You want it tapered off, rounded. So let's head over to the wood lathe, and I'll show you how I drill the holes. All right, guys, at the wood lathe right here. Now, I have one of these Nova wood turning chucks in here, which allows you to clamp in various sizes of round pieces like dowels or end of a project that you're wood turning. What I do, because I have my piece cut right here, 5 1/4 inches off my 3/4 inch dowel, and I need to drill a hole on each end of this. So I just take this in here, and I'll put that in there, and we'll tighten this up. And I have on the other end of this drill press, I have a chuck that's just like what you'd have in your drill press. And I put a 1/4 inch Forstner bit in that. So all I got to do then is slide my tailstock and kind of get it, my light here, kind of get it, and I'll move your rest out of the way, but I'll get it kind of centered like that there in the piece, and then I'll lock this down, and I want to drill in 3/4 of an inch, and 3/4 of an inch on here is about right to the where it starts tapering right here on the bit. So I'm going to drill it in up to this point right here. So all I got to do is turn my drill press on, drill this on, and then just run this. I got a little crank right here, and just crank that in. And you can crank it in and come in and out of it a little bit. And like I say, if you don't have a wood lathe, then you could do this on your drill press, like I explained to you before. But I don't mind doing it this way, because the next step, I'm going to need to put this in the wood lathe anyway. So we're just going to keep on going in until we get to that depth we want for that hole. And I usually pick out a point right where that bit tapers a little bit. That's where I stop. So we're just going to run this back out. I'll move my tailstock out of the way. And now we're just going to loosen this up. And you got your hole right down the center of that dowel. I'm just going to stick it back in the other side. Tighten it up. And basically we're going to do the same thing. Tighten that up. Turn on the wood lathe and do the same thing. We're just going to bring that in. And the thing of it is, it may be a little quicker if you do it on the drill press. It don't matter really which way you do it. Okay, so we got that drilled in. Just back this up. Move your tailstock out of the way. Now, you have a hole in each end of that. The next step would be you need to taper that off so it's not square anymore. So what I use is I have these easy wood tools that I got from my wood lathe. It's got the replaceable bits on the end of the tool. I'm just using a round one right here. And I'm not no professional on the wood lathe. I can use it for what I need for, but I don't make a lot of things on the wood lathe. I just do a few things. So basically you want to set your rest up so it's centered with your piece. That's the first thing you want to do. Then you want to keep your rest as close as possible to your work. And all we're going to do is taper that down to that hole. We'll just turn the wood lathe on. Turn up the speed a little bit. And we're just going to bring that, round that edge off. And when I first started making these, I used to do this on my disc sander. I used to take these pieces on my disc sander and grind like this here, but it's a lot easier with your wood lathe if you do it. And you can see right here, I got that tapered off really nice, and that's the way a cattail is supposed to look. So all you do is stick it back in your chuck. And you're going to do the same thing on this end. Then you're just going to take it out again. Now, another thing you can do before I take this out, sometimes I'll just take some sandpaper right here. This is 120, a strip of it like this here. I'll turn it on, and I'll just give this a little bit of a sanding. Just kind of cleans it up a little bit. You don't have to do that. I don't think cattails are real super smooth, but you can see there's a little bit of a difference as far as smoothness right here. I could turn this around right here, and let me grab my chuck, because I just dropped it. So, and we'll just tighten this back up again. Just turn it on, and then we can just run the sandpaper on this side. And take it out. Now you have a nice smooth cattail right here. It looks really nice. And I'll sit and do this. I'll do 20, 30 of them at a time. It really don't take long to do it once you get going. But yeah, it looks really nice. Now, we're going to head back over to the workbench because we got to make the tip part for that. So we'll see you back at the workbench. Okay, so you went from this, a square end like this here with the holes in, to this right here. It actually looks really nice. And now you have your piece right here for the stem, and that'll stick in right there, like this here. Yeah. 1/4 inch hole. This dowel might have to be sanded down just a little bit. I don't know why, but it does. It's got to be sanded down just a little bit to fit in that hole. For some reason, well, of course, this one fits in there. Let's say we're going to make a short one. This one fits in there. Every dowel is different. So anyway, you got that part right here. Now you need to make the tip of your piece. And this is the part right here, the tip of this. And that's what's important about drilling the holes the same distance from each end, because the tips on my cattails are 2 1/4 inches. So all I do is take a short piece of dowel. We'll take this short piece of dowel right here, and we're going to head over to the little belt sander I got over there, and I'll show you how I make them tips. All right, here at the little 1-inch belt sander that I got right here. The way I do the tips, because they're kind of pointed on the end, all I do is sharpen it just like I'm kind of sharpening a pencil. So we're going to sharpen one end. Okay, so basically, you're just putting a point on the end of that dowel. Now, if I was making a whole bunch of these cattails, I start out with a long dowel, and I'll sharpen this in, then I'll sharpen this in. I'll show you right here. Now I have both ends of this here dowel sharpened. All I'm going to do now is go over to my bandsaw, and we're going to cut these off. And if I do a whole bunch of these cattails, I just keep on going back and forth, sharpening both ends and cutting them off. Okay, at the bandsaw right here. Now, you'll have to determine how long you want that point to stick out the top of your cattail. I come up with about a 2 1/4 inches because I'm counting how deep I got it drilled into the other piece. So I got this set at 2 1/4 inches. We'll just zip off a couple. So I got 2. And like I said, you just keep on sharpening each end of the dowel, and you just keep on coming back and cutting off the ends, and you're going to end up with a whole bunch of these little tips that you're going to put in your into your cattail. So let's head back over to the workbench and finish it up. All right, guys, back at the workbench here. So we have our stem made. Whatever length you want to make this stem, cut that. We have our actual cattail body of it made. With the ends of it nice and tapered off, with the holes on each end. Now we just gotta glue this, what I do is glue the stem in right here in one end, and then you have your little point that goes in the top. You're gonna glue that in the top. So now you basically have a cattail. I usually glue them all together before I'll stain them. And then we just decide what color stain we're going to use. It could be a light, dark. A lot of times I have old stain laying around my shop, but pretty much any color you want. You could leave them natural if you want to. But it makes a great accent in a plant's, say you have a flower arrangement in the corner of your room or something like that. These are really neat, and I have a lot of people that like these cattails, you know, when I take them to shows and stuff, and just do them different lengths. And if you, for some reason you want it a little shorter, you can always just cut off the stem a little bit on the bottom here. But and not all of them end up perfectly straight. I mean, this one's a little kittywampus a little bit, but that's how wild cattails grow in the wild. You don't have to be perfect with this project. So some of them turn out pretty straight, but it just depends on the dowel, because sometimes the dowel will have a little bow in it or twist or something, and it doesn't matter. That's just the way they are. So that's a perfect project to work on. And let me just show you this right here. This is a bunch of cattails that I have done over the past couple months. A whole big vase full of them, and I usually take them to the show and display them in this wild grass like this here, and they look really nice. It's an easy project to do, and for you lady woodworkers out there, hey, this is something you can do and display in your house, and it's perfect because a lot of women like these cattails. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification for other videos. I do have more videos coming, and we're going to continue working on that large wooden toy train that we've been working. I have another car that's coming out here in a day, and then I'm working on my next car after that. We have about maybe 6 cars to go or something like that on that train. But I just wanted to throw this little project in there just to kind of do something a little different here instead of doing the train parts over and over and over. But this is a very easy project. Give it a try, and let me know how it turns out. We'll see you in the next video.